Alright, time to do a video on Nintendo's IP, Splatoon. Mainly the first game because it turned 10 years old. Like, man, I feel old already. No, seriously, this game came out back in 2015, exclusively on Wii U, a system that wasn't doing great. But the first Splatoon was a hit. But yeah, I'll get to the introduction on the game, but let's begin to talk about the first Splatoon game. Splatoon is a third-person shooter video game that centers around Inklings frequently engage in turf wars with each other and use a variety of weapons that produce and shoot ink-like paint. And when they're squid, they swim into surface areas. I know Splatoon doesn't have a story, it's just more of what the game is about. There is a single-player mode that has a story, which I won't say too much. Let's talk about how the game began prior to its release. It started development back in mid-2013, at a time when the Wii U system wasn't doing good in terms of sales. One member of the Animal Crossing development team, named Shintaro Sato, created a 4 vs 4 ink-based territory control game set in a futureless arena. And besides Sato, this was also created by Hisashi Nagomi, who did work on Animal Crossing. The game was first shown back at E3 2014, and let me tell you this is like one of the best surprises from Nintendo. Nintendo's E3 2014 had some really good surprise of games. Zelda, Yoshi's Woolly World, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Super Mario Maker, etc. But the biggest one has to be Splatoon. The trailer starts off with paintball spray with Wii U logo, admitting that the game was coming to Wii U. Then this squid creature with eyes. I was like, okay, looks cool. Then the squid is swimming, jumping around the paintball. I went, okay, even more cooler. Then came a squid that turned into a kid-like human out of the ink. Then all of a sudden, blue paintball going across with totally opposite colored paintball-like game. And then the gameplay was shown. My jaw dropped. I've never seen the game that looked this creative. It was like a paintball game, but different. It showed 4 players battling with other 4 players, indicating it was going to be a big multiplayer game. Then it shows these characters getting hit with weapons, and weapons has different varieties like paint rollers, laser gun, and ones shaped like ink bombs. Then came the name Splatoon. That trailer was amazing, and the game looked super fun. My wishes were, I hope this game becomes a big seller for the Wii U system, which it did for a bit. And the other one was, I hope this series becomes a big hit, and it becomes the big IP from Nintendo. The closest IP that was big prior to this was the Wii series, and that's because the Wii series were for casual audiences when the Wii system was huge. Anyways, we gotta talk about the game. There are different modes: turf wars, ranked battle, private battle, and even single player mode. I'll talk about the single player mode first. It's still great as always. This is one thing that the game will let you play without playing online. I like the level designs, gameplay, and even ways to battle mini bosses and rescue the Zapfish. My only gripe in the single player mode is trying to find a sector level in each world as invisible kettles. I remember having a hard time trying to find them, but it wasn't too bad. I did get them all, and I finished all the levels in the single player, and I did make it to the final boss, but I couldn't beat it. Yeah, it is a tough final boss, and one day I will beat that part, similar to what I did with the second Splatoon game. Let's move on to online. Other than the single player mode, the online has got to be my favorite part in Splatoon. It is fantastic. Turf Wars are easily my go-to mode to play in Splatoon. Whenever I'm on a team, I usually have the most amount of points during the battle. It was fun back then. I mentioned it before, but I'm not the biggest online player. I jump in for like 15 minutes, then I take a break, and then I come back for more battles. But it is easily one of the best online games I played, on par with Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. Like, I already knew that this was going to be a next big multiplayer game, and it truly did because of the esports thing. Map rotations for the time was quite good, but it does go slow of rotating them and the small amount of maps. In the second game, it does go quicker and it goes bigger with the maps. The weapons are awesome. I love using different weapons throughout the turf war mode. If I had to pick my favorite weapon, it's usually these weapons that go faster. I'm not a fan of weapons that are slow or usually charged up to pick the pace up, but the weapons are great to use online. The graphics are still great. It's more colorful, it's more lively, it's more pretty, and even more cartoony. Love the graphics. I even love the music in the game. After the time limit of Turf War, your character does have to level up to get rewards. Usually I don't level grind a lot in the game. In the first Splatoon, I only made it to level 16, and that was it. The highest level cap in the game is level 50. That's a lot to grind more, and for experience points. Besides that, you can visit shops to buy weapons and clothing, which they are cool to wear. Also, there's even events occurred in Splatoon called Splatfests. They are fun to play during the events. With all the gameplay I mentioned, let's talk about reception. Critics praise the game for Nintendo's decision to enter the genre with a new franchise, in which I kinda agree. I know third-person shooter games are pretty big in the video game industry. Now it was time for Nintendo to do their own. Plus, it's something very special for a brand new IP. The rest of them I've talked about in terms of overall style and presentation. I've heard criticisms of lacking of voice chat and private lobbies, in which it doesn't bother me. I get why people want voice chat in Splatoon because of the strategy and interacting. Nintendo did add the feature to create private lobbies for Splatoon, plus they added free DLC of new maps and weapons, something that would happen. Splatoon 1 didn't have any paid DLC, but the sequels did. Now, how much did the first Splatoon game sold? Splatoon sold 4.95 million units worldwide. That's pretty good for a new Nintendo IP. It wasn't until the Splatoon sequels when they made a lot better sales, with over 10 million. So glad the Splatoon franchise sold a lot after the first game. Besides the sales, Splatoon did win at the Game Awards twice, with Best Multiplayer and Best Shooter. As for Legacy, the Inkling characters would appear in other Nintendo games. They appear in Super Mario Maker when you acquire the Inkling amiibo, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate when you get to play as them. Besides the games, there's water gun toys, a manga series, and even concerts. So glad Splatoon's merchandise is pretty big. Okay, not super big as like Mario, but at least it's getting there. But yeah, this is something very special for Nintendo to come up with an IP that people will love. So glad Splatoon is here in the past 10 years. Splatoon on Wii U is very fun. Unfortunately, in 2024, Nintendo announced that they shut down the Nintendo Network service, discontinuing the online play for the game. Yeah, once they cut the server off, you will never play the first Splatoon online as of now. But the single player is available, and like I said, the sequels are available for online play. And while I can't recommend it because there's no online play now, but if you have already played the game before, let me know what do you think of the game. For me, it was probably one of the most gaming experiences. I had a lot of fun playing online with players around the world. I love the idea that Nintendo created, and yet it's still a unique quality game. This is definitely like in my top 30 favorite video games, maybe top 25. That was all for the video of Splatoon. Happy 10th anniversary. I will cover some more Splatoon videos, with Splatoon 3 being one of them, and I need to play more. And Splatoon 2 I already covered before in a video, but I could talk about the first Splatoon in future videos. I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye!